To hear from French President Emmanuel Macron, who has been meeting with fire officials once to get to the bottom of not only what happened, but how it started. We also have gotten a statement out of the Vatican. Keep in mind, this is technically a Catholic church. The Vatican saying that the Holy See, that refers to the Pope, has seen the shock and sadness of the news of the terrible fire that has devastated the Cathedral of Notre Dame, a symbol of Christianity in France and the world. The statement goes on to say that the Vatican is praying for firefighters and those who are doing everything possible to confront this dramatic situation. It also, referring to the Vatican, expressed our closeness to French Catholics and the population of Paris, and we assure our prayers for firefighters. We expect to hear from the U.S. Cardinal Timothy Dolan, whose St. Patrick's Cathedral within his diocese, of course, pays homage to Notre Dame. He will be talking about a common bond between the people of this country, not only just Catholics, but of this country, period, and to the French people as well, mourning a huge loss of cultural and emotional significance. Catholic League President Bill Downey joins you right now on the phone. Bill, we don't know what started this. We do know the repercussions and what has been left as a result of this. Ruins, and ruins that could take some time to fix and make right, and you never can make it as it was.
Well, Neil, if it is an accident, it's a monumental tragedy. But forgive me for being suspicious. Just last month, a 17th century church was set on fire in Paris. We've seen tabernacles knocked down, crosses have been torn down, statues have been smashed.
We don't know that. We don't know. So if we can avoid what your suspicions might be, I do want to look at what happens now. There was a very pricey rebuilding and renovation effort going on that involved a good deal of Catholic fundraising campaigns. I know in this country and abroad, this renovation was paid for up front. So in other words, all the monies were there. And now I'm wondering how much more the Catholic Church commits to this, or do you think now they first want to get to the bottom of it?
Well, first they have to get to the bottom of it, and they will rebuild it. There's no question about that. And certainly the Catholic Church will come up with the money for it. That's not even a question. But I'm sorry. I mean, when I find out that the Eucharist is being destroyed and excrement is being smeared on crosses,
wait a minute,
this is going on now.
I love you, Neil, but we cannot make conjectures about this. So thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you very, very much. I do want to let people know, and again, we're not trying to be rude to our guests here. There is so much we do not know about what happened here. We do know that about 4 hours ago, something started here. Now, there are incidents that have been raised against the Catholic Church, a lot of popular tourist sites, certainly in and around Paris, no stranger to attacks, but it is another leap to start taking views like that when we don't know. Trace Gallagher, of course, you know this institution, you know what it means, not only the people of Paris, but I would think in general that Europe, one of the top 10 attractions for all tourists, all over the world, and now essentially gone at its core. So I'm wondering what happens.
Yeah, and you can see, Neil, you can see the Catholics outside that they were crying. You know, this is the intestinal feeling these people are getting from this is absolutely amazing. And now, 4 or 5 hours later, Neil, you have some of the firefighters that are pushing back because they're saying a little after 6 o'clock in Paris, when this fire actually started, the firefighters are saying that they were actually on scene. They were helping some of the workers get out of the building. That was one of their top priorities to start with, is getting these workers outside of the building, the ones who were doing the renovation. Now, the firefighters, the question seems to be the resources they had, because if there were firefighters on scene, you look at the early video, there was very little, if any, water being put onto the actual fire itself, which is odd when you consider that there's a river running right through the complex. And then you kind of look at maybe 45 minutes, an hour later, they started to get some heavy water on there. The question is, why did it take so long? They even considered for a while using helicopters to drop waters like they do in wildfires, and even some heavy tankers. Of course, the thing with that is the water would have been so heavy that it might have destroyed some of the surrounding buildings, and of course the air tankers, that's not an exact science, so getting it to hit the right spot would have been a feat in itself. We should point out the reason the fire burned so long and is still burning so long and so hot is because inside of this, 800 years ago, they used 52 acres of timber to actually build the cathedral. You imagine that, 52 acres. In fact, the inside of the cathedral was nicknamed the forest. 800 years of bone-dry wood going up in flames makes for a very strong adversary. I want to point out, you mentioned Timothy Cardinal Dolan earlier. He did issue this tweet a short time ago, Neil, and it says, I want to quote, "I just went next door to our beloved cathedral, St. Patrick's, to ask the intercession of Notre Dame, Our Lady, for the cathedral at the heart of Paris and of civilization now in flames. God preserve this splendid house of prayer and protect those battling the blaze." And I know you're of the same mind, Neil, when you're Catholic and you go to places like the Notre Dame Cathedral and St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York and St. Peter's Basilica at the Vatican and the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem. And I remember when I was covering the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem and the militants got inside and they defaced the church, and when Catholics went afterwards, they cried. They cried at the structures being defaced, and that was repaired in a matter of 2 weeks. Imagine the visceral feeling that Catholics have watching one of the emblematic buildings, much less Catholic cathedrals, watching it burn to the ground. We also want to point out that the artifacts inside that Ben Hall was talking about earlier, Neil, I mean, some of these artifacts are the actual drawings, the architectural renderings of the city of Paris itself. Not just the cathedral, but the city of Paris itself that are so valuable. They are thought to be in vaults deep within the cathedral, but it's unclear the damage the smoke and other things may have on that. So along with the artwork, along with the artifacts, along with a lot of the symbolism of the Catholic Church, you are seeing this just tragic scene right now as the flames still burn. And the quote of the day might have been from Ben Hall when he was saying they don't know if they can stop this fire. I do want to say one good thing, Neil. Well, two good things. One, that nobody was injured in any of this. We don't believe at this point in time. And two, because of the renovations, in the days, maybe a week ago, they were able to take 16 of the copper statues, the structures that were on the spire. They took those, they took those off, Neil, and they have separated those. So those were not burned. We're talking about the statue of St. Andrew and other, hundreds and hundreds of year-old statues that were taken away from the property. So if there's any way to look, with any kind of optimism on this, that would be at least part of it, Neil.
That is a very good perspective and a timely one too. Trace Gallagher, thank you very, very much.